Hi, Roger Lewis again. Background information part 2 or 3. About 5-6 years ago I came across a brilliant doctoral thesis by a guy called Clarendon. Clarendon showed that many technologies exist to recover waste energy from a primary system and supply it to a secondary energy generation system. However, and for whatever reason, these opportunities are not deployed or developed. Clarendon showed that there is always another system that can benefit from the waste of a previous system. So why isn't 3, 4 or more systems inline feasible, each adding to the overall system efficiency? Now in Clarendon's graph, which is shown there, but I've actually printed an enlarged version here for yourselves. As you move to the right, the fuel for each process can be supplied by the waste of a process from the left. And in the 20 years since his research paper, I'm sure new processes offer even more possibilities. In terms of the processes highlighted in Clarendon's work, the modern steam turbine originated in 1884. First acknowledged practical industrial gas turbine existed in 1939. Organic Rankine cycle, a version of the steam turbine system, has been a practical existence since the 1960s. The first practical Stirling engine with scalable power outputs existed from 1950s, 1960s. Practical commercial diesel engines have existed since the 1930s. The first commercial fuel cell applications began to appear in the 1950s. Now, what Clarendon talked about, here's an actual outline of what he had in his doctoral thesis. You've actually got various cycles discussed, and then the combinations of cycles which he discusses afterwards. Particular ones of interest to myself is the Rankine Stirling-cycle, which is what's happening in information I'll come to later, which is the steam cycle and then the Stirling engine cycle. You've also got the Joule and the Rankine cycle, which is a gas turbine and a steam turbine together, which is effectively what is a combined cycle gas turbine system. Also of note is the Joule to Joule cycles, whereby two gas turbines together, the first producing around about 33% efficiency, the waste goes into the second, gets worked a second time and increases the system efficiency to around about 43%. Really interesting sort of work. Now, speaking with an engineer about the details of a report on combined heat and power by Goldstein et al. 2003 report, I was informed that it was not possible to get 90% efficiency for electrical generation because of thermodynamics and cost. And in a separate strand of the conversation, cost became the overriding obstacle. So this makes me think, if the cost could be overcome, would thermodynamics actually be such a stumbling block? I often wonder if thermodynamics is being used as an excuse, and I'll elaborate on that. Laws of thermodynamics rightly limit how much energy can be created. It's to do with work done, etc. But I keep getting told that the existing electrical generation technology cannot generate any more electricity due to those laws of thermodynamics, including one person on Twitter who repeated the same thing and pointed me to a general Wikipedia page, the kind of link that suggested he didn't understand the full meaning of it himself. However, the laws of thermodynamics haven't changed since they were created over 100 years ago. So I assume that when electricity generation was done by a single process, such as open cycle gas turbine, a single gas turbine, if somebody queried why more electricity couldn't be generated, I wonder if somebody else said, the laws of thermodynamics prevent it, it can't be done. And some bright spark, I believe it's somebody called Ivan Rice, pointed out in a March 2017 article, turbomachinerymagazine.com, why not use the waste heat of the gas turbine to turn water into steam to generate more electricity via a steam turbine, which eventually became a combined cycle gas turbine? But the laws of dynamics hadn't changed. CCGT systems were born and had been proven to work, presumably within the laws of those thermodynamics. So if one recovery phase can exist, why not multiple phases of recovery? Now, despite having practical examples of the relevant processes for over 50 years, we still strive for what are actually just incremental efficiency increases, as opposed to substantial leaps by combining multiple systems. Combined cycle gas turbines represent a start, and although UK stock of CCGT is 39.5% of the total installed capacity, similar to the USA, there are only there's only running roughly at a half of what they could achieve by adding other existing processes, other recovery phases effectively. A recent search by the open web shows CCGT efficiency being mid 50% for a number of years. Currently the most efficient system is 63%, but according to a digest of UK energy statistics report from the UK government's Department of Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy, efficiencies for the last 5 years have been between 47 and 49%. I'll come to part 3 shortly. Thank you.